up your mind. Is your mind awake right now? How many of you can tell me what 6 plus 6 is? Your mind seems pretty awake to me. So what is Guruji trying to tell you when he's saying Jagre? What is he asking you to wake up then? Who can tell me? Well, you are awake though. Right? You're all awake.
When you're asleep, you forget God. So when you're awake, you remember God. So you're saying, wake up.
So wake up in what way though? How many of you think you're all awake right now? Okay, so when Guruji is saying wake up, what does he mean wake up? Like, aren't we all awake right now? So what is he talking about? Waking up what? Yes? Waking up your mind. But that's what I just asked. When I say 6 plus 6, isn't that waking up your mind? Do you need your mind to add 6 plus 6? You don't need it? You don't need your brain? What does he mean waking up? A lot of you are saying the right thing, but not quite exactly what I'm looking for. What does he mean? Yes? Wake up your soul. Yes, he's saying, you know what? There's that side of your mind that's worried about your schoolwork. How many of you want to do well in school? And you care about getting good marks, right? So your mind is awake, right? It's paying attention to that part of it. How many of you know about all the sports out there and you want to go outside and you want to play sports? How many of you know about different sports like basketball or badminton or just running or jogging or playing on the swings, right? You know about these things of getting your body healthy. But Guruji says your part of the mind, your soul that really understands God, he's saying that part's sleeping. That part's not even paying attention to what's going on. Your life's passing by, it's going on. And that part of your mind, it never goes there. He's like, make your mind pay attention to that as well. That's what he means by jago. Wake up. Jagre. He's not saying you're sleeping, and when you're sleeping you can't think of God, and you're wide awake you can. So in the morning, when you wake up, how many of you brush your teeth before you go to school? That's awesome. Otherwise you'd have stinky breath. How many of you wash your face? And how many of you have a shower before you go to school? Do you know our Guruji told us that Guru Sikhs have to have a bath every morning when you wake up? You should all have a bath. How many of you knew that already? Some people didn't. Your body, when you're waking, when you're sleeping, you actually have all the dead cells of your body are falling off and your body's kind of stinking and in your bed. And when you wake up, in order to get fresh, you have to have a bath. And you should every day. Sometimes children go to school without having a bath and other kids can tell. So you have to wake up, you have to brush your teeth, you have to have a bath. So you do all those things, right? How many of you get your backpack ready to go? You put all your homework in there, your planner, right? It's all signed. Some of you have to make sure your parents sign for the books you read at home. How many of you do all that? Right, so you're all ready to go. And if you're going to be having gym that day maybe, or you know you're going to play outside, you're going to make sure you're wearing your special shoes, right? But how many of you, before you go to school, sit in a chonkara and say, God, you who created everything in this world, every single living thing, every animal, every bird, everything in the ocean, everything on land, my parents, my friends, everything in this world, how many of you think and sit there and remember him? So you see a few hands going up. So those of you who do shabash, that means your mind is awake. And those of you that aren't, what should you be doing now? What should you be doing? Every morning before you go to school. Now if you don't know how to do Bach or anything else, what can you do? What's just as powerful? What is it? What's that one word you can do? Yes? Vaheguru. Everybody say that. Vaheguru. That is that powerful shabd. Now tera nirankar hai, na laiye, nark na jaiye. Guruji says hell is like what? Hell is like anything that's painful, right? Anytime you feel a lot of dukh, you feel like that's hell. So we don't believe in a hell and a heaven. Guruji just says it's a state you can be in. He goes, if you say this name, Vaheguru, now laiye, nark na jaiye. He made this promise to you. So I want to talk to you a little bit about that, because you know what happens is you can't do something unless you believe in it. So if I tell you that if you eat junk food, you'll be unhealthy, do you believe that? Yes. How many of you don't believe that? How many of you think by eating junk food you don't get unhealthy? So you do know that, right? And that is the reason I can tell you tomorrow, oh, don't bring junk food to your class party, or don't bring junk food to home. Like when you go shopping, don't buy too much junk food. And you won't say why. You'll know already, because you already know junk food is unhealthy. So if you can't understand what Guru Granth Sahib Ji is, then all this stuff we're saying means nothing. You're going to say, who told you that? Who said, why Guru? is a beautiful name. And by saying it, it gets you closer to God and away from dukh and pain and what we call hell. How do you know that? If you don't even believe what Guruji is, right, Sean? So, I want you to look up at the screen. Who can tell me what that's a picture of? What is that a picture of? Yes. Yes, you the white patka. Yes, what is it a picture of? Sorry? Yes, what is it a picture of? You raise your hand. What is it? Yes, you. Guru Granth Sahib Ji. How many of you knew that? Raise your hands. You all knew that. Now, I want you to tell me this. Does it tell you in Guru Granth Sahib Ji that you have to wear kirpan? Does it?
No.
How many of you think yes? Raise your hands. How many of you think no? Raise your hands. How many of you are not sure? Raise your hands. Okay. No, it doesn't tell us that in Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Does it tell you, Guru Granth Sahib Ji, how you should walk into Gurdwara Sahib? It does a little bit, but does it tell you exactly how to do that? No, it doesn't tell you everything. What kinds of things does it tell you in Guru Granth Sahib Ji? Yes? Sorry? It says to do Simran, yes. What else did it tell you, yes? Mm-hmm.
Like you bow your head to like please the Guru that you're in like
Yeah, so it doesn't tell you to love Guruji and all that, but it doesn't tell you all these little detailed things. Does it tell you how to take Amrit? Does it tell you in the Guru Granth Sahib you have to go in front of the Panj Pyare, and then you have to sit there, and you're going to have Panj Baniya being read to make Nitin? Does it tell you that in Guru Granth Sahib Ji? No. No, you guys are so smart. How many of you say no? It doesn't tell you that in there. And that's the problem now. A lot of people in the world, I say 95% of the Guru Sikhs in the world, who don't listen to everything Guruji says, the reason is, well, tell us where it says in Guru Granth Sahib Ji. How do you know you're supposed to do all that other stuff then? How do you know you're supposed to come to Gurdwara and bow down? How do you know you're supposed to cover your head? How do you know you're supposed not to wear shoes inside of Gurdwara Sahib? If Guru Granth Sahib Ji doesn't tell you in there, how do you know? How would you know? Yes? Sorry? Your parents teach you that? And what if your parents don't teach you that? What if parents say, you know, it's not written in there, and I don't see it written in there, so I don't believe it. How would you know that? Yes?
For respect.
Okay, so you would do it for respect. But yes?
See what they're doing.
Sorry? So see what they're doing. There's a lot of parents of the Sean. Can I get you to come? Sean? Stand up and come right over here. You're chatting so much. Yes, you three you're not over your head. I can see the back of your head. Okay, so whoever it is, you boys are big enough, you should know. So, boys and girls, it doesn't tell us in Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Some of you said you asked your parents, but what about all those parents out there that don't believe that? They're like, it's not in Guru Granth Sahib Ji. I know a lot of people, I talk to them all the time. They say, you know what, you look pretty extreme living in today's world. Wearing a kirpan, you got your head covered with a turban. That's not normal. Guru Granth Sahib Ji doesn't tell you to look like that. That's extreme. That's not normal. You don't have to be like that. Where does Guruji say you have to do that? What should I tell them then? They say, oh my goodness, I made a mistake. I didn't know. What should I give them as an answer? You know? Yes. Sorry? Who made the rules? Guruji? Okay, so this is where I want you to listen really carefully. So I'm going to tell you something that you didn't know, because you couldn't answer my question. And when you look at all those parents in the world, you can go to all these gurdwaras, and you know what? You're going to hear that same thing from people. They're going to hear them say, Guru Granth Sahib Ji we accept as the Guru. Guruji is awesome. We believe this is a way to get closer to God, but we don't believe you have to look like this, that's for sure. And they're going to say, tell us where it says in Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Where does it say it in Guru Granth Sahib Ji? So if you say, oh, my parents do it, they're going to say, oh, your parents aren't really paying attention to what they're supposed to do. Because most of the Sikhs out there, that's what they're going to tell you. They're going to say, you tell me first where it says it in Guru Granth Sahib Ji. What are you going to say to them? Should I change then the way I look? Should we change? Should everybody out there that's a juda, get rid of their juda? Well, then tell me why you have a juda on your head. Where does it tell you to do that? You have to know this, because you know what? Every day you're going to have this happen to you. Every day you're going to meet people, more people that believe that than this way, which is what I'm telling you. Yes? Sorry? So I'm going to tell you this. Where does it tell you in Guru Granth Sahib Ji that Guru Gobind Singh Ji is your 10th Guru? Did it tell you that in there? Does it? No, it doesn't. Do you know that Guru Nanak Dev Ji's Bani is in there? And it says Mahalla Pehla, so you could say, okay, that's why we know Guru Nanak Dev is the first Guru. Guru Angad Dev Ji's Bani is in there, did you know that? Mahalla Duja. Guru Amar Das Ji's Bani is in there, Mahalla Tija. Guru Ram Das Ji's Bani is in there, Mahalla Chautha. Guru Arjan Dev Ji's Bani is in there, which is Mahalla Panjwa. But Guru Hargobind Singh Ji's Bani is not in there. Is he our 6th Guru? Well, I don't know. How do you know? Guru Krishna Sahib Ji's Bani is not in there. Is he our 7th Guru? How do you know? So did I say Guru Har Rai Sahib's, Guru Har Krishna Sahib Ji's not in there? Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji's is, so we know, okay, he's our 9th Guru. Mahalla Noma. And is Guru Gobind Singh Ji's Bani in there? Not really. Whatever's in there is not identifies as Guru Gobind Singh Ji's Bani. So guess what? There's 4 Gurus now. Is they even Gurus? And which Guru told us Guru Granth Sahib Ji is our only and last Guru? Guru Gobind Singh Ji. But is it written in Guru Granth Sahib Ji? No. So how do you even know Guru Granth Sahib Ji is your Guru then? Well, it doesn't have Guru Gobind Singh's writings in there. So these people who say that and they're trying to use their own mind, that's what they're using as their own mind. Okay, you can't do that. You have to understand the Guru's way. And that's why I tell you, when Gurus came to this world, did they live in the human body first? How many years? Who can tell me? This is a hard question. I don't expect you to know, but who can tell me? You know for sure. How many years did they live in the human body? Yes? Not 20, 230 years as human beings. Not as human beings, as the Gurus, but in the human body, not looking like this. Why did they do that? Yes? Show the world exactly how to live. See, Guru Granth Sahib Ji, is it the truth? Guru Granth Sahib Ji's 4 things. It's the truth. It is how to get to the truth. So becoming a Guru Sikh, becoming a student is part of it. Then you have to understand what to do. You guys don't stop. You get up. Right now I caught you talking. Don't even try to pretend. You're going to step beside Uncle Sahib right then. He's going to make sure that you stay quiet and listening. It tells you what the truth is. It tells you how to get to the truth. It tells you about those people who found the truth and how they felt. It tells you Bhagat Farid, Bhagat Kabir, when they actually found this beautiful truth, what they felt. And it also tells you about all those people in the world that had never seen the truth and what happened to them. Jaga Kamala Fire. Guruji says they're walking around like crazies. They think they own the world. They're crazies. And they think they're normal. Guruji tells you everything in there. The Manmukh, the person who doesn't follow the right path. The Gurumukh, the person who does. And how they're feeling, everything's in there. But Guruji said, look, this is not a history book. When you go to your school, how does your teacher teach you? First of all, she shows you, right? She goes to the board and she goes, look, boys and girls, there's 6 plus 6, right? Does she show you? And she shows you on the board. She does a few examples. That's one thing she does. Does she ever tell you to take out your math booklet or your math textbook? Yes. Then she gives you more questions to do in the booklet, right? So she shows you, she explains it to you. Like in gym class, does she sometimes actually model it for you too? Does she jump up and show you how to do how to hit a volleyball? Does she show you all that stuff? Yes, she shows you, she explains it to you. Then she says, read about it. Then she gets you to do it yourself. Is that how it happens in school? So raise your hand if that's what your teacher does. Shows it to you, explains it to you, then she gets you to read in a booklet or a book, then she gets you to do it yourself. Right? We all do that. And you're going to keep doing this. When you go to university, it's the same way. Your professor is going to stand in the front. There's going to be 1,000 people sitting there, and the professor is going to go and show you and tell you. They're going to tell you to read your textbook. Then sometimes they have to tell you to read the computer as well. And this is how they make sure you learn what you're supposed to do. So Gurujis were the same way. They said all the truth that can never be changed is right here. But how to live that truth, how, like what is in there, but how? They said, we're going to show you first. That's why I said, we're not going to give you Guru Granth Sahib Ji first. Guru Nanak Dev Ji could have come and said, here's Guru Granth Sahib Ji. This will be your Guru, but wait for 10 more of us to come. But we'll keep always talking about Guru Granth Sahib Ji. They said, first you have to live it. And they showed us how. So Guru Nanak Dev, Guru Angad Dev Ji, Guru Amar Das Ji, first they lived it. And then they said, now we think you're ready to understand it. And what's wrong with the world now? They're turning and saying, okay, fine, we accept Guru Granth Sahib Ji as our Guru. And if you ask them, well, who told you that? They're going to say Guru Gobind Singh Ji, and you're going to say, well, where does it say that? They won't have an answer for that, but they'll probably ignore you because everybody wants to use their own mind. Nobody wants to look different in this world. They want to say, we want to do what Guruji says, but in our own way. But is that the way it works? Do you do what Guruji says, or do you do what you want to do? What Guruji says. And that's why it's so important to listen to everything, all the Gurus, the way they live their lives. So when people come up to you and say, where does Guruji tell you to grow your case? What would you say to them? You need to know this because people are going to do this all the time. What would you say to them? Where does the Guruji tell you to grow your case? What is your answer? Anybody? Yes? No, we're not in Guru Granth Sahib. What are you going to say? You're going to say, our Guruji showed us before Guru Granth Sahib Ji became our Guru, and they told us Guru Granth Sahib Ji is our Guru. They lived the life they wanted us to live. And they showed us how to live our lives. And they kept their case. And the same Guru who told us that Guru Granth Sahib Ji is our Guru is the same Guru who told us to keep our case. So now, what's your answer? If somebody says to you, how do you know you're supposed to keep your case? What would you say? What would you say to them? Yes. Guruji lived the life and showed us how to live. That's really an important part. And the whole world's forgetting that part. No one wants to hear stories of Gurus anymore. They don't want to hear what Guruji has to say. They come in here, they want to do what they want to do, the way they want to do it. And I told you, I can tell you Gurdwaras in the world, even right here in British Columbia, where people will come into Gurdwara Sahib and not even cover their head. Can you believe that? How many of you know you're supposed to cover your head when you come to Gurdwara Sahib? So you already know so much more. And you can't tell these people to do that because they'll say, where does it say that? They're not going to listen to you. And that's what's so important. All of you are the seed that's going to grow up so beautifully, and you're going to show the world. So I want to ask you a question. If your teacher, and there's a teacher, I'll try to pick a teacher, because look how many nice Amritdhari teachers there are in the world now. Amritdhari professors, Amritdhari doctors, Amritdhari school teachers. If your teacher said to you, a tsunami is coming, and this is what a tsunami looks like. How many of you know what a tsunami is? What is a tsunami? What is it?
It's a big wave.
It's not just it's a huge wave. There's right there. That was a tsunami that came in Japan. And everything you see on the right-hand side was completely wiped out. That is like so many meters high that everything that was in its path was destroyed. That's a tsunami. So the teacher sits there and says, guess what? A tsunami's coming. Would you listen to the teacher? How many of you trust your teacher and you think your teacher would tell the truth? I trust my teacher, all the teachers I've had. And yeah, teacher wouldn't pretend there's a tsunami coming. Did your teacher ever do things like that? Scare you like that? Never. What if on the news a lady said a tsunami's coming? Would you believe her? How many of you would believe the news? If the news said a tsunami's coming, you got to be careful. How many of you believe the news? The news, they always tell us what's going on in the world, right? Now, who is greater than the teacher? Who's greater than the news reporter that you know of? Who is greater than all of them in the world? I know all of you know this answer. What is the answer? You can yell it out. What is it? God, Guru. How many of you agree? Now, how many of you are saying it? And how many of you believe it? So how many of you really believe that? If you believe it, do you have to listen to what the Guru says? Can you just say it? No, Guru says, Guruji even asks, he goes, he goes, what is the use of you walking down here, then you put money in the golak and you matha take, and then guess what? You walk the opposite direction. What he means is you don't listen to what I have to say. You bow in front of me, As if to say, I accept everything. You are the God of the... Do you bow to your teacher when you go to school in the morning? Do you bow to your parents when you wake up in the morning? Matha take to them? What about your grandparents? Is there anybody else in the world you bow to other than Guru Granth Sahib Ji? If Stephen Harper, the Prime Minister, came here, would you bow to him? What about the richest man in the world? Would you bow to him? So only Guru Granth Sahib Ji? So you bow only to Guru Granth Sahib Ji. And Guruji says, but listen, you're not listening to what I have to say to you. You're not paying attention. Remember that Jagre, right? The Shabd that Pamandeep sang? That's Guruji talking. So Guruji, if Guru Nanak Dev Ji said to you, there's a tsunami coming, you've got to be careful and watch out, would you listen to him? How many of you would? Well, Guru Nanak Dev Ji says even more than that. See, the news people, they can only tell you about the tsunami that's already coming. They can't tell you a tsunami is going to come in 6 months, can they? Can your teacher tell you a tsunami that might come in 5 years? But can Guruji tell you all that? And this is what Guruji says. So if your teacher could talk to you and a tsunami is coming, she'd grab you by your shoulders and she said, listen, a tsunami is coming. You've got to save yourself. This is your one and only chance. Would she say that? Or would she say, oh, tsunami's coming, we're going to die, oh, who cares, let's learn some more math? Would she say that? What would she say? What would your teacher say? Tsunami's coming, yes? Get ready, be safe, right? That's what she'd say, right? Well, what Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, and it's written in Guru Granth Sahib Ji, actually Guru Arjan Dev Ji, our 5th Guru, he says, Ab kallu aayo re. What is he saying to us? He doesn't say a tsunami is coming. What did he say? Ab kallu aayo re. What is that? Who can tell me? What is kallu? Yes? Not tomorrow. Oh, it smells like kal, but it's not. Yes. Kaljug, yes. I'm going to say it out to everybody. What does it mean?
Kaljug.
Kaljug. Very good. How old are you? 8. I didn't know that when I was 8. I didn't even know that when I was 25. I didn't even know that when I was 30. He knows so much more than me already. You know way more than I knew when I was your age. You know way more than me than I was even 20 years old. And that's the truth. And so Kallu means the dark, dark, dark age. The darkest age is the age we're in right now. Guruji says, when this world is created, God created just like He has, which is the coldest season out of all the 4 seasons? Winter. Which is the hottest out of all the seasons? Summer. So God, just like that, created ages. So seasons, they come and go in every year. Ages take lots and lots of billions of years to go by. He created 4 ages, 4 seasons, 4 ages. And he said of all the 4 ages, the darkest, darkest age is Kaljug. So he says, listen so carefully. This is more important than a tsunami coming. Tsunami will come and go in a few hours. The effect will last for a year or 2 years. But he goes, dark age, Kaljug is going to last for a long time. And you are now living, every one of us is alive in the dark age. And he says, you need to understand the dark age. Ik naam bovo bovo. So he gives an example. See, Guruji is amazing because as teachers, does your teacher always give you examples at school? I love examples because I can't understand things unless people give me examples. And I always give examples too. And Guruji does that so much. He goes, I want you to pretend you're a farmer, he says. He says, if you're a farmer, would you plant your flowers for your beautiful roses in the winter? Why not? Why wouldn't you plant the seed for your beautiful roses in the winter? Who can tell me? Yes. They'll die. Because they'll die. They will die. Why will they die? Okay. No yelling out next time, okay? Raise your hand. I can't ask everybody. You have to raise your hand, though. Yeah, he says because it is too cold, they'll die, right? Is that true? Yes, that is true. So Guruji says, listen carefully. You are now trying to grow your soul. And you're doing it in the darkest of ages, Kaljug. And he goes, you have to plant something. Do you plant a seed for a rose in winter? No. Which season do you plant it in? Spring. Spring. Who said spring? And when does that beautiful rose grow? Summer. He goes, in the dark age, you're going to plant the seed, And it's going to grow after you leave this world. And he said, the seed that you're planting then, he says, what should you be spending most of your time doing? What do you think he wants you to do? Yes? Simran, Ikanam. Nam means Waheguru, right? Whenever you hear the Nam, it's Waheguru. He goes, Ikanam, Bovo, Bovo. He goes, you're going to plant now in the dark age. Don't bother planting onions. Don't bother doing these things. Now, some people hear that and say, and this happened to me once, because we used to do Gatha a long time ago at Khalsa school too, and some child went home and said, Banji told us today we're not allowed to play basketball ever again. Did I say that? No. Guruji says you have to play basketball, because if your body's not healthy and you have to play sports and you have to be active, then you can't. Can you sit and do Simran if you're 300 pounds? Is it going to be easy to do Simran if you're 300 pounds and sit in Chonkada for an hour? No way. Your legs are going to hurt. So Guruji says you have to have a healthy body. Does Guruji say you should go to school and get good marks? Yes. Because Guruji says you have to earn an honest living. And can you earn an honest living if you are not educated and you can't get a job? Can you? No, you're going to become a beggar. Are you going to be begging from people? Are you allowed to be a beggar if you're Guru Sikh? Never. So Guruji says you have to work. You have to be healthy. You're allowed to play games. You're allowed to have fun. But the one thing that's going to go in the next world is what? What is it? Simran, Naam Japana, right? So that's like Naam, Bovo, Anrat, Nahi, Mat, Parama, Pulo. He goes, this is not the season to be wasting time doing other things. So when the tsunami happens, do you go in the kitchen and start baking a cake? No, you don't. Because you're going to do what's going to happen to you. You're going to die, right? You're going to try to get to high ground, right? So Guruji says this is a time that you have to survive, you have to eat. When you go to work, your mom goes to work. Does your boss pay her to come to work to eat her food? They say, come to my office here today. Come to your job just so you can eat your food. Is that why he gets her to work there? No. He says, I want you to work and do the job I have for you, but I know you're going to get hungry, so I'll give you time to eat. But is that why he wants your mom and dad to come there? No. So just like that, Guruji says, I know when you're in this world, you have to eat, you have to play, you have to sleep, you have to go to school, you have to get good marks, you have to get a good job, you have to take care of everybody. But what's the real reason you're here? Sorry? Yeah, to meet God, to get stronger, make your soul stronger by reciting His name. So that's the message Guru Nanak Dev Ji is giving us. Is there any teacher greater than Guru Nanak Dev Ji? No. And you can't accept what Guru Nanak Dev Ji has to say unless you realize he's our Guru. So I'm going to quickly just talk about these few women, then I'm going to give it over to Paji really quickly. Does this woman look like she's an Amritari? How many of you think she looks like an Amritari? And why do you say that? No, you right there, yeah, why do you say that? So she says, because she's wearing a turban on her head. How many of you would agree with that? How many of you don't agree? How many of you are confused? Okay, so no, she's not Amritari. What about this lady? Does she look like she might be an Amritari? No, they're not. But remember we talked about women before? And I said, look at the difference between women and men. Women have to wear makeup. Women have to wear all sorts of jewelry. Women have to wear fancier clothes. And who started making women do that in the first place? Way long time ago. Who made women start doing that in the first place? Yes? Sorry? Their husbands or men, right? They said, you don't look pretty the way you are. So you have to change the way you look. And are women still doing that today? Should women be stronger than that? When it comes to working, women stand up and go, I want equal rights. If you can be a manager of a bank, I can be a manager of a bank. Do you think that's fair? When it comes to being in sports, the women say, if you can go skiing downhill in a competition in the Olympics, I can too. Is that fair? But when it comes to being strong, women turn around and say, oh, I still have to put my makeup on. Women carry big, huge purses. What do they put in their big, huge purses? Yes? Makeup. Who said money? They put their makeup. Men have money. They put in their wallets. They have these big purses for their makeup and their hairbrush and their hairspray and their lipstick, right? Should women have to do that? Are women Christmas trees that have to be decorated? No. And I want to talk to Guru Ji. See, out of all the religions in the world, which religion said that women are really strong? Which religion said women can do the same things as men if they want to? Women should be treated with the same respect as a man. And they can be treated with the same dignity. Which religion said that? And they didn't just say it, they actually wrote it in Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Wow. Yes. Sikh religion. Guru Nanak Dev Ji, our very first Guru. They didn't wait till Guru Arjan Dev Ji or Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji. Right away, Guru Nanak Dev Ji said, listen to me carefully. A woman is just as equal and should be treated equally as a man. But guess what? Everybody else heard the message, and everybody else is becoming strong. Are good Sikh women being strong? So I want to show you something. So these 3 women won the Nobel Peace Prize this last year. If next time you talk, I'm going to get you to sit out right on the stage, and everybody can look at you, and you can look at everybody, and you'll be really quiet. They won the Nobel Peace Prize for what they did for their country or for the world. And when you look around, you're going to think, oh, maybe they're like extraordinary women. But these are people that could be in your house. One of these ladies could be your dadi or your nanny. One of these ladies could be a person that you meet just by when you walk around this, Surrey here. And one of these ladies could be your mother. So this first woman here, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, she's a president of Algeria. Guess how old? Right there in that picture. She just won the Nobel Peace Prize last year. How old do you think she is? How old do you think she is? Yes? 84 years old? How many of you think she's 84? How many of you think she's not that old? How old is she? Yes? 60? How many of you think she's around 60? Okay, I'll tell you, she's 73 years old. Okay, how many of your nannies are 73 years old? Or around that age? Or how many of your nannies and dadis are younger than 73? That's a lot of people, a lot of dadis and nannies out there that are younger than her. So if someone says, I'm too old to change now, is that true? So what did this woman do? Well, she is the first woman ever. They had an election, so people could all vote. So it wasn't like they just said who's going to be the next leader. They voted, and she's the very first woman to ever win in an election. And she said this, she spoke out when she won her award, and she said a lot of people will not speak out against injustice when wrong things are happening. And she said you have to really get peace in the world, you have to speak out. And she's willing to speak out against that. And that is why she won the Nobel Peace Prize. In her country, she stopped a lot of these injustices that were happening against women. Now, when you listen to that, you think, wow, good for her. But who else is supposed to be doing stuff like that in the world? Who else? God? Who else? Yes. Us. Who's us? Who's us? Everybody's supposed to be doing things like this. If you're sitting home watching dramas all day, can you do stuff like this? No way. And that's why Guruji says you have to make your life better and stronger. This lady here, she's a social worker. She doesn't have a big degree. She's not a professor at a university. You 5 boys are really, really starting to bug me a lot now. Every time I look over, you're chatting so loudly. That's really not fair to everybody else. So this lady's a social worker. And she helps people. And she doesn't earn a lot of money. She doesn't have a big job. And guess what she did? She went out to people and she said, you know what? We have soldiers in our country that are little children. Do you think a 7-year-old child should be a soldier and be fighting in a war? But no one listened to her. So she said to all the women, she said, all of you are going to wear white T-shirts. And we're going to go in front of the government buildings. We're going to sit there and we're not going to move. We don't care if it's a hot, hot day. In Algeria and Africa, it gets really hot. Way hotter than here in summer. And she goes, we don't care if it's a rainy day. We're going to stay sitting there until you change the laws. And they did this day after day after day. Many of them got thrown in jails. Many of them got persecuted. Some of them even died. She would not stop. And do you think they had to change the law? And that's what one woman did. And anyone can do that. We're from a country, Punjab, that's right now facing a lot of things that are not right, that are going on. A lot of people, aren't even caring. They don't even know what's going on in there. So these women are showing us that women can be strong. And this lady here, she's 32 years old and she's a mother of 3 children. She doesn't have an education. She didn't even have a job. She's just like a lot of moms who've never worked. But she stood up. And they started saying to people who are journalists, people who write newspapers, that you can't write the truth anymore. And she stood up and she said, no, that's not allowed. And she protested that. And she said, journalists, people who write in newspapers should be allowed to say anything that they want. And she got recognized for that. She changed a lot of things that are happening in her country. So I want to show you this because I want to let you know there are strong women in this world. And we're going to talk more about this. Miri Piri's coming up. We're going to talk about Guru Hargobind Sahib because he gave us a lot of strength. And not just to men, to women too. And he said, our gurus told us that, you know what, if you're a woman, you're fighting for equality. He gave us equality. When you take Amrit, what does a man wear on his head when he takes Amrit? Everybody tell me, what is it? A dastar, right? Turban. What does a woman wear? Can she wear? Yes? Dastar, turban, or she wants, she can wear a scarf on her head. She can cover her head too. What does a man get to wear that looks like this? What is this called? Yes? And does a woman get to wear it too? I went to the bank, and this is a true story. I went to the bank like 10, 15 years ago, and I walked into CIBC, the one on 88th and Scott Road. I don't even think it's there anymore. Maybe it is. Anyways, a lady came up and she goes, oh my God, I didn't know women can wear these. And you know why she didn't know a lot of women can wear these? Where do most women wear their kirpans? Underneath their clothes, right? How many of you are going to say that? We all know that, right? Women are like, well, my suit doesn't look so nice and my kirpan's on the outside. So Guruji said, look, I gave you the right. If you don't want to take the right, can you blame the Guru? No. Women are fighting for their rights everywhere in the world, and our Guruji is giving them to us. He says, you can be just as strong as your brother, just as strong as your father, just as strong as your husband, but you have to want to be that. So all you young girls that are sitting here, I want you to look at the other women in the world that are doing really strong things. And so maybe it's your mom, maybe it's one of your puas, maybe it's your chachi, maybe it's your cousin. And if it's no one in your family, you're going to make those women strong. You're going to tell your mom, Mom, be strong inside. Be brave. And how can you make your mom strong and brave? And your dadiji, and your nanniji, and your puaji. How can you make them strong and brave? What could you do to make them strong and brave? Yes. Okay, you could tell them to do that, but that might be too much for them right now. What could you tell them that's not as much as that? She said, tell them to take Amrit. For sure, that would make them brave and strong. But if they're not ready, what can they do before that? Yes? Learn. How would they learn? Yes? There you go, shabash. I want you to say this. What should they start doing?
Do 5 minutes Simran every day.
5 minutes of Simran every single day. That's what you're going to tell them. Say, Mom, let's sit down in the morning. How many of your moms do part in the morning? Very good. And how many of you do part with your moms in the morning? Some of you. So you know the more part you do as a family, because you know what Guruji said too, this is amazing. He said, if you do say Vaheguru once, you get the benefit of doing one Vaheguru. If you do with somebody else, so there's 2 of us sitting here, and I just say Vaheguru once, but they said it with me, it's like I said it twice. That's how when you do part here and you say Vaheguru, it's like you said it, every time you say it once, it's like you said it 500 times. That's what Guruji gave us. So I'm going to stop right here because I want to make sure we get our Simran done today. We do Gurstatata part today. These things are really important. And I'm going to bluff it. But I want you to think about this. Don't you just go home and do nothing. All of you should talk to your moms, especially your 4 boys here. And you should help your mom to help us be less chatty and sit more quietly. And you're going to go home and you're going to talk to your mom and dad about this. You're going to say, what did we learn today, Mom and Dad? And what can we do as a family to become a stronger and more brave and courageous family? I was watching a thing yesterday. It was like a Christian channel. But showing all these beautiful quotes, like really nice things about the world. And I thought it was really nice. But one thing it said in there was courage is the most important quality you can have. It said virtue. Because it said that is what helps you keep all your qualities for a long time. And I thought of Amrit. Some people take Amrit and they really want to, and then later they get weaker and weaker and weaker. But if you have a lot of courage, you'll never get weak. If you have courage, you'll never feel ashamed of having your case. So courage is really, really important in every religion, including Sikhi. So put your hands together. Oh, lots